Okay, let us now go inside the adhikara of tadhitaha, which as we know starts from the Sutram 4176, tadhitaha, and goes down to the end of chapter 5 of the Ashtadhyayi. The adhikara we are taking now is that of samasantaha. Sutram here is 5468, samasantaha. Vritti simply says, apada samapteradhikaroyam. Apada samaptehe adhikaraha ayam, which means that this adhikara, governing rule, a topic setting rule, governs a section from this sutram 5468 down to the end of the quarter, the fourth quarter of the fifth chapter of the Ashtadhyayi. Of course, the fourth quarter is the last quarter of the fifth chapter of the Ashtadhyayi, so basically this adhikara runs to the end of chapter 5 of the Ashtadhyayi. So the affixes which are prescribed by the rules in this section become the ending members of the compounds to which they are prescribed. That's what samasantaha means. So these are affixes which are prescribed to come after a compound, but they become the ending members of the compound to which they are prescribed. So they get absorbed in the compound as the ending member. That is why Panini says samasantaha. This is a peculiar concept. Normally, when we add a pratyaya to a angam, the pratyaya is not absorbed inside the angam. It stays separate from the angam. The pratyaya, or the affix, normally does not become a part of the angam. But these affixes which are prescribed in the adhikara of samasantaha are peculiar. Now, let's not forget that this adhikara of samasantaha is within the adhikara of tadhitaha, which starts from 4176, which itself is within the adhikara of Nyapradipadikat, which starts from 411, which itself is contained in the adhikara of 311 Pratyaha and 312 Parascha, and all these four adhikaraha end at the end of the fifth chapter of the Ashtadhyayi. So the bottom line is that samasantaha are tadhitaha, and they are prescribed to a Pradipadikum as per 411 Nya Pradipadikat, and they are Pratyayaha as per 311, and as per the adhikara of 312 Parascha, these Samasantaha Pratyayaha follow a Pratipadikam. All this we know. But the peculiarity is that they become the ending members of the compound Pratipadikam to which they are prescribed. Now a question may come is that why call these Pratyayaha? Why not just say Agamaha? Because as we know, Mitravad Agamaha. Agamaha is like a friend, it comes and joins you. It becomes part and parcel of the term to which it is prescribed. And these are also coming and becoming the ending members of the compound to which they are prescribed. So why bother with this Pratyayaha? Why not just say Agamaha? The reason is that a Agamaha does not create a Angam. Remember the definition of an Angam. Sutram is 1413. Yasmat pratyaya vidis tadadi pratyayangam. So, a Angam is created only when there is a Pratyavidhi, when an affix is prescribed. A Agamaha cannot create a Angam, which means that none of the rules of the Angasya Adhikaraha, which we know runs from 641 to the end of chapter 7, none of those rules can be used when we simply bring in a agamaha. But here when we add the samasantaha, we want to create angam because we want to trigger certain rules from the angasya adhikaraha. So just calling them agamaha will not do the job. We need to create a angam in order to be able to apply certain rules from the angasya adhikaraha, which are necessary to get the desired forms. Okay then, so these are pratyayaha. But then why do they become the ending members of the compounds? Why not keep them separate? There are many reasons for that. One obvious reason is that if we keep the pratyayaha separate, then we'll have a pradipadika sanya for the samasaha by 1246 krittadita samasascha. That is the samasaha to which a samasanta pratyayaha was added. And the entire term samasaha plus the pratyayaha will also get a pradipadika sanya by the same sutra 1246 krit tadita samasascha, because samasantaha are part of the tadita pratyayaha. So we'll have two pradipadike, which will create enormous problems. We would have to add a supaffix to each pradipadikam, which will be a mess. So to avoid these kinds of complications, Panini says samasantaha. So yes, these are pratyayaha. They are tadhita pratyayaha. They come following a samasta pratipadikam, a compound pratipadikam, but they become part and parcel. They become the ending members of the compound to which they are prescribed. So yes, they do have a character like a agamaha, but they are not agamaha. They are pratyayaha. One last point here is that normally when we add a tadhita pratyayaha to a pratipadikam, we create a new pratipadikam which is different in meaning from the base pratipadikam to which the pratyaya was added. For example, Vasudevaha, son of Vasudevaha. So the meaning of Vasudevaha is not the same as Vasudevaha. The Tadhitanta pratipadikam Vasudeva is created from the pratipadikam Vasudeva by adding a Tadhita affix. Similarly, Jadyam, inertness, is created from the pratipadikam Jada by adding a Tadhita affix, and so on and so forth. The meaning of Jadyam, of course, is not the same as Jada. Jadyam means inertness. Jada is inert. Now the question comes, what about our samasantaha pratyayaha? They are also tadhitaha, as we have already seen. Do they change the meaning of the compound to which they are added? The answer is no, because Panini makes no mention of any change in meaning when adding these samasantaha pratyayaha. And when no meaning is given, then we have to understand that a pratyaha is added swarthe, in the same meaning, without changing the meaning. So when these samasantaha pratyayaha are added to samasaha, they do not change the meaning of the compounds. They are added swarthe.